I am making NFL-style football teams out of Pokemon, and if those two very different interests align for you too, welcome, you've found your people. We've already made the teams for Kanto, Johto, and Hoenn, so today we'll be exploring the peaks and valleys of Sinnoh's options. Our first pick off the board is shockingly a fullback. Even more shocking is the fact that that's not even the first time that we've said that. I can't believe that our first overall pick is a fullback. But either way, it's Rampardos. It is 5'3" and 226 pounds of pure head-down smash-mouth running. It has 165 attack, and its head is as hard as iron and can smash through the hardest of objects and topple massive trees. Hence the fullback, and if you're new to football, fullbacks are kind of like running backs, but they typically run in front of the ball carrier to block the defense out of the way, but they can carry the ball themselves as well. Which is a very old school style of play, but that's perfect for the now 20-year-old Sinnoh. Ouch. So Sinnoh is of course going to be a old school team focusing on power running and defense. But that's not to say that they do not have a solid passing game, because they do. They really do. I usually save quarterback as our last pick, but this one is just too good for me to gloss over. It's Magmortar. Sure, by appearances, you may be thinking it's going to be kind of slow and vulnerable in the pocket, right? But no. It has 83 speed and decent bulk. Sure, it's only 5'3" and 150 pounds, but with its literal cannon arms, it can easily launch the ball over the line and deep down the field. Therefore, we need some deep threats at receiver, which Sinnoh actually kind of struggles with in a way. We'll get to receivers, but first, Sinnoh might actually have one of the best tight ends in the entire league. It's Electivire. Standing at 5'11" and 305 pounds, all while having 95 speed, this thing is going to be a problem running up the seam, and with its 123 attack, it will be a valuable blocker as well. Since again, if you're not familiar, tight ends both block like a lineman and run routes and catch the ball like a receiver. They're kind of the hybrid there. Receivers, however, as I said, were a bit difficult to find in Sinnoh. When we made this team together live on stream, I actually had Yanmega at cornerback on defense, but I think that it's actually going to make a better wide receiver one. Not only can it, well, fly, but it also is 6'3" and has 95 speed, which only gets faster and faster as the game goes on thanks to speed boost. And if it can easily transport an adult in flight, I'm sure it can handle catching a ball. Our other two receivers, though, are a bit undersized, though they do make up for it in other ways. Infernape and Lopunny are both only 3'11", but are very fast and athletic. Infernape will make for an incredible short route over the middle slant type of threat with his incredible speed and great hands. Lopunny, as of right now, is kind of just a good wide receiver 3 pick, but remember, we do actually get one Mega Evolution pick per team, so Mega Lopunny is actually a pretty viable option, which might even shoot it up to like wide receiver 1. But we'll pick that later, because even more important than any of that is our offensive line. They have to protect Magmortar and give it some time to throw to these great pass catchers. So at the ever important left tackle position, we go with Abomasnow, who is a shocking 7'3" tall and 298 pounds, and is a very balanced and fundamental player with decent attack and defense across the board. Then our center has to, of course, block as well, but also needs to both snap the ball to the quarterback and help them both diagnose the defense and be a leader on the field. So who better than the regal Empoleon to fill that gap? It is only 5'7" and 186 pounds, but centers are usually smaller anyway, and with its great defensive stats, steel typing, and shields for arms, it will not be easy to move. And if you watched the Hoenn team's video, you'll remember that we had Dusclops at one of our tackle positions, and it was really just trying to fill Dusknor's shoes. Keyword there is trying. Dusknor is huge. 7'3" and 235 pounds with 100 attack and 135 in defenses. We'll just hope that the refs ignore its, gripping tendencies. As you may or may not know, on offense in football, you can block, you can push, you can shove, you can do all of those things, but you can't like grab a hold of and wrap up and bring to the ground. That would be a holding penalty. Though I will admit, I do usually struggle with picking the interior lineman for some reason. But this time at left guard, we go with Bronzong, who is of course a defensive menace and will be very difficult to get through its steel body and arm things. And our right guard is another hard-bodied steel type Magnezone. It may only be 3'11", but our boy is wide and almost 400 pounds. Not to mention its huge defenses and like magnet arm hand things that it can block with. So that is a darn good offensive line, if I do say so myself. But Sinnoh has an incredible running back duo. Sure, it may not be on Johto's level of like Donphin and Miltank, that's terrifying, but it is really good. Lucario is going to be the Le'Veon Bell of the Pokemon world. At 3'11" and 119 pounds, it's nowhere near the biggest, and looking at its stats, it's fast and it's strong, but it's not elite in any of these categories. However, like Le'Veon Bell, with its steadfast nature, it is going to be a master of reading the defense, waiting for its opportunity, and bursting through the hole at just the right time. But we do need some big playability too, so that is where Floatzel comes in. Again, fairly small at 3'7" and 73 pounds, but it has 115 speed and 105 attack. You get Floatzel the ball in the open field and it will for sure break off some chunk plays in the run and the pass. So there is our Sinnoh offense, which looks really dangerous and might even be better than Hoenn's, but how will its defense stack up? Oh, and we will do a bracket style tournament at the end of this and actually look at matchups and see who wins that specific game, which will be really fun. But anyway, on to defense. We'll start out in the trenches with our defensive line. Sinnoh is running a 4-3 scheme, which means there is 4 down linemen and 3 linebackers behind them. First and foremost, though, we have to be able to get some pressure on the quarterback, so who better than Mamoswine at defensive end? It is 8 foot 2 inches tall and 641 pounds of ancient mammoth pig. Sure, yes, he can be a bit oblivious, but with 130 attack and 80 speed, this thing is going to be absolutely terrifying coming around the edge for some sacks and tackles for loss. And right next to it, for our first defensive tackle, we go with Rhyperior, who is again huge. It is 7 foot 10 inches tall and 623 pounds with 140 attack, 130 defense, and oh, you know, it's the drill Pokemon. Dude is getting into your backfield. Whether or not it makes the tackle doesn't really matter, because it is going to absolutely up your play. The other 2 slots on our defensive line were actually kind of difficult to fill though, not because we didn't have any good options, but we had kind of too many. Like the wall Pokemon Bastiodon, but it is a bit short. Then Garchomp, who would be terrifying off the edge, but we want to utilize its speed elsewhere. Then Hippowdon is an incredible option at 6'7" and 661 pounds. Shoot, even Licky Licky is way bigger and stronger than you'd think. But we ended up actually going with 2 grass-type Pokemon instead. Next to Rhyperior on the interior, we go with Torterra. It is again massive at 7 foot 3 and 683 pounds and sporting great offense and defense. It may not be making many tackles, but it is absolutely going to plug up that interior. Which leaves us with our other defensive end. Now, hear me out. It's Tangrowth. I know, this may seem odd and maybe not even as good as some of those other options that I mentioned, but it is still 6'7" and a respectable 283 pounds, albeit a bit slow. But it does have amazing attack and bulk, but most importantly, it has those extendo, stretchy vine arms that can ensnare its opponents in. It may not be very explosive off the edge, but good luck running or throwing the ball in its direction. And sure, why not? We'll throw Hippowdon a bone and it can be like a rotational pass rusher. Which reminds me, I'm going to go back and do the same thing for Slacking on Hoenn's team. Yeah, Slacking is now both your backup tight end and a rotational edge rusher. Have fun with that. That is one beefy defensive line, but how about our linebackers right behind them? Well, linebackers need to be a decent mix of size, speed, and strength, which makes it a fairly difficult position to fill. And a middle linebacker especially also needs to be smart. It's typically the heart and mind of your defense. It needs to diagnose the offense and implement the plays that are called in by the coach. And all of that actually leads me to Gallade, who shockingly didn't even make the team while we made this on live, but I think that this is the best option here. Its size is what originally concerned me. It is only 5'3" and 114 pounds, which is definitely small for a linebacker, but it does have 80 speed and 125 attack. So it absolutely can make some great open field tackles and be pretty great in coverage as well. Toxicroak is where we go for our first outside linebacker, who is again undersized. 4'3" and 98 pounds is not great, but again, it has 85 speed and 106 attack. Not to mention that has great anticipation and is known for weaving and dodging past blockers to get to the ball carrier. And okay, I'm just now realizing that all 3 of our linebackers are pretty small actually. Our other one is Drapion. It is shockingly only 4'3" and 135 pounds, but again, it has 95 speed, 90 attack, incredibly powerful claws, and a head that can turn on a swivel in coverage. And speaking of coverage, we really need some, especially to help out over the middle with our undersized linebackers. However, said size at least is not coming from our cornerbacks either. Weavile is our first pick, who is only, 3'7" and 75 pounds, but it has 125 speed and attack. So I think that its speed, aggressiveness, and athleticism can make up for its lack of size. The same cannot be said for our other corner though, who has a very different skill set. It's Ambipom. Again, it is only 3'11" and 45 pounds, but it has 115 speed and most obviously is those giant 2-hand tails. Yeah, this guy isn't going to be making probably any tackles, but good luck throwing the ball on his side of the field. Especially when we show our 2 safeties who will make you second guess throwing a jump ball. At strong safety, we go with Gliscor, who is 6'7" and 94 pounds while sporting a nice 95 speed and attack as well as 125 defense. But its flight is soundless. It dances through the sky silently, then lands a critical hit in an instant. All I hear is passes defensed and drops galore, which we are doubling down with our monster of a free safety pick, a name you have probably been waiting to hear, Garchomp. It is 6'3", 209 pounds, very fast, very strong, very aggressive, and it can fly. So that's our defense, but wait, we still need our Mega Evolution, which a lot of you had the idea of changing it up. Instead of having one Mega Evolution per team period, we have one Mega Evolution per side of the ball per team. So one Mega Evolution on offense and one Mega Evolution on defense per team. And I like that idea, so let's run back to Kanto real fast, where they had Blastoise on offense as quarterback as their Mega. So why not? Let's give them Mega Gyarados as their edge rusher, because that's just even more ridiculous and terrifying. Then over in Johto, their Mega was Mega Heracross at defensive tackle, and there's really like not any good options for a Mega on offense. So I guess we just give them Mega Tyranitar at left tackle, which, I mean, probably the best left tackle in the league outside of Hariyama, but seems like kind of a waste. And Hoenn's team was already terrifyingly ridiculously good with Mega Blaziken with speed boost at quarterback, but then look at this defense, which is already crazy, and now we're gonna give it Mega Metagross at middle linebacker. Hoenn's running this league, guys. Which brings us back to Sinnoh, where our Mega on defense is actually a really easy choice. We don't want Garchomp to get slowed down by its Mega Evolution, so instead we just go with Mega Gallade. It gets much stronger, much faster, and even gains 10 pounds. So I think that we might actually switch Mega Gallade out to strong safety and move Gliscor, who is bigger but a bit slower, into middle linebacker. And for Sinnoh's offensive Mega Evolution, we really only have two options. We can either go with a Mega Lucario running back, who would be incredible, of course, or we could go with Mega Lopunny wide receiver, which I think we might actually go with Mega Lopunny wide receiver, just because imagine those strong legs. It can probably jump really high, and it's really fast, and it's very scrappy. I feel like, especially with Magmortar shooting bombs down the field, having a Mega Lopunny wide receiver would be really, really good. Behave. Don't make me get the squirt bottle. Oh, and we go with Hansgrohe for our head coach because he's the big boss Pokemon and already kind of looks like Vince Lombardi. So there you go. Let me know in the comments who our kicker for Sinnoh should be, because I got nothing, if we're being honest. And while you're at it, make sure you're subscribed, like the video, and watch the other ones for the other teams we've made if you haven't already. See ya in Unova.